Welcome to the Entrepreneur Exchange on the Mesh Podcast Network, a monthly conversation about startups and small business with ideas, tools, and advice to operate your business more effectively. On today's show, what if there was a group of experienced business counselors ready, willing, and able to provide you, an entrepreneur, small business owner, with business counseling and support, as well as host a variety of workshops on topics that will assist small businesses. And guess what? They're not going to charge you. Fortunately, here in North Carolina, we have the Small Business Center Network, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. And our guest today is going to be Ann Shaw, who is State Director of the Small Business Center Network. In addition to that, we'll highlight some small businesses that you should be checking out. My name is Jeff Neuville. I'm your co-host, Director of the Manufacturing Solutions Center in Conover, North Carolina. I'm joined by my co-host, Gary Muller, who is Executive Dean of Economic Development and Corporate Education at Catawba Valley Community College in Hickory, North Carolina. Gary, how's it going today?
It's going great. It's been my small business day of the year. We've got Ann, you, and we met with Chris Reese. You met with Chris today, our new small business director. So this is a big day for me.
It's a big day for you, and we're sitting here in late March toward the tail end of March Madness, which we always enjoy. My college, the University of North Carolina, still alive, has a game tonight. So, fingers crossed.
You're wearing your colors. I appreciate that.
I'm representing today,
and I'm all ACC. I'm pulling for all four of the ACC schools.
All right. Well, we're homers when it comes down to it.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we want to welcome everyone, all our listeners today. We're very pleased to welcome our guest, Ann Shaw. Ann, how is it going today?
It is a gorgeous day on the coast of North Carolina, where the rain is coming down gently on the waves out in the water, and there are geese flying overhead. And so what it can't be any better than that, right?
I was going to say, you were talking about how great it was, and you had then been talking about how it was pouring all day.
Well, she
That's
works,
okay.
She works with the Chamber of Commerce. She knows how to promote her.
A rainy
area.
day is still a good day in North Carolina.
Well, Ann is the State Director of the North Carolina Small Business Center Network. She has managed a small business center at Coastal Carolina Community College. She's worked in banking. She can run a 4-minute mile. She can press 250 pounds. She is versatile, if nothing else.
She's a superstar.
Yeah, and we're very happy that she is with us today. So, Ann, tell our listeners a little bit about the Small Business Center Network. What services does it provide? What sort of impact does it have on our state? Tell folks that might not be familiar with the network what it is and what it does.
Well, I can't wait to tell you about the Small Business Center Network, but about that 4-minute mile, I just want to say it's been a few years, but just since you're talking a little bit about me and my background, I did play basketball in junior high and high school. And so I love what's happening with all this March Madness and Sweet 16 and Final Four and all of that that's coming up. So let's have fun with that, right?
Absolutely.
So, but back to what we're here to talk about today, the Small Business Center Network. What an amazing resource for North Carolinians that we have as part of our community college system in North Carolina. So we have 58 small business centers. There's one in every community college across the state. And each of the centers is a community-based provider of 3 essential services for people who are thinking about starting a business or for existing business owners. So the Small Business Center can provide you with training. I like to call it high impact, short duration. So we're talking about seminars and webinars, training that gets to the heart of the matter when it comes to you understanding the steps to starting a business and all of the operational pieces of that business. So training, free confidential business counseling is our second service. And once again, I'm using that word free, so pay attention to that. And confidential. So you come to us, we meet with you privately, we discuss your idea, and give you the guidance that you need to move that idea forward. And then that third service is the referral and resource information that we provide you with to really connect you to all of the entrepreneurial ecosystem partners, the regulatory agencies, anyone and anything that you may need to advance your goals in starting that business. So that's a little bit about what we do. And I think you had some additional questions, but tell me what they are, Jeff.
Well, tell us a little bit about. Well, number one, let's just talk about. We're sitting in North Carolina, and we have listeners outside of North Carolina. Are there similar services in other states? I mean, I've heard of small business development centers and whatnot. So our network is a little bit unique in that we're working with the community college system, and I think the fact that it is so geographically dispersed throughout the state makes it pretty unique. How does it compare to other resources that people might see in other parts of the country?
So I think you've used the perfect word. It is unique. There's nothing quite like the Small Business Center Network. I mean, certainly the small business development centers that are affiliated with the Small Business Administration and in North Carolina, the university system. But in terms of community college programs, there's nothing quite like the North Carolina Small Business Center Network. And we're so proud of that because we talk about being the most extensive state-funded program of its kind in the country. So again, unique. And we're just so fortunate that back in 1984, our North Carolina General Assembly was looking at how they could better serve entrepreneurs. And that's when we were born. So we've been doing this amazing work, lifting up and nurturing the ideas of entrepreneurs for almost 40 years now.
So our network within the state is supported by our state government. So I know that you have to be able to go back to them and show the sort of impact that the network has on our local economies. So when you think about the impact that the network has, how is that demonstrated? What sort of impact do you go back and share with our state government and the supporters of the Small Business Center Network?
Thanks for asking that question, Jeff. I love answering it because we have a huge return on investment for the state of North Carolina. And we measure that in terms of the number of businesses that we help start and the number of jobs that we help create. And there are a lot of other performance factors that we look at. But just in terms of the number of businesses that we help start, we create over 600 businesses annually every year for the state of North Carolina. And in terms of what it costs for us to do that, we are a bargain for our North Carolina taxpayers in terms of, relatively speaking, looking at what other programs in the state invest in economic development. So we love being able to say that we're very efficient with the money that we're given to do this work and in creating those business starts. We also really look at job creation and retention, Jeff. That's a big part of what we do. So annually, we're creating over 5,000 jobs for the state of North Carolina through our activities. And that, I love being able to share those numbers because they really demonstrate the hard work of our team across the state. We work with over 6,000 clients every year. We put on about 4,000 training events every year for 36,000 people who attend those events. So we are touching base with so many people across our state every year, and that ends up just having a remarkable impact over time.
Now, Now, Ann, you and I, I'm, full disclosure, reformed small business center director, and have had the opportunity to know and work with Ann for 10 plus years. And when the aging gracefully is in the dictionary, Ann's picture is next to it, and that she's
Thanks,
been
Jeff.
doing this. She's been doing this for a while. I mean, tell us a little bit about your background with the Small Business Center Network, and that today you're a state director, and you're kind of a big deal these days. But at one point you
Mm.
were just a lowly small business center director, grinding it away. So
How did she get here?
yeah, how did this come to pass, Ann?
Well, let's just say I'm celebrating my 38th year with the Small Business Center Network.
Are you, when it comes to
That is a
longevity,
big deal.
are you like the one with the most longevity within the network?
Well, they call it being the oldest rat in the barn, and I think I qualify. So,
Okay. I mean, because we've had some old rats in the barn, but I think that they've been released.
uh, it's been so much fun, though, Jeff. I started in 1986, and at that time, I had just finished up working in the banking industry for about 7 years. I grew up in a family-owned small business. My father owned a drugstore business in the small town that we grew up in eastern North Carolina, Mount Olive. And so I grew up in that world of, understanding what it meant to meet a payroll and make sure that your customers were served well, and just that day-to-day operational tempo of keeping a small business going. So that was a lot of fun, and just really, I landed in Jacksonville and thought, what am I going to do here? And they had just posted the position for the Small Business Center Director, and brand new program at the community college. And I thought, I can do that. I've got some small business background. I have the banking background. I'm a resourceful person. I can do that. So they were kind enough to hire me and give me a chance, and I fell in love with the job. I just loved working with entrepreneurs and working with all of the partners out in the business community, the chamber and the economic development organizations, and the city and the county. So we just built a really great program that helped small businesses take their idea from those very, very beginning stages and plan it out and launch it and operate it successfully. And so it became a real point of pride for the college and for the community. And eventually I got the opportunity to work as a leader in the network, regional director, and working with lots of the colleges just on a volunteer basis. And then that kind of turned into the job that I have now as state director. And what a joy it is to work with 58 of the most talented people who are out there every day working with people who put it on the line every day, entrepreneurs who take everything that they have, all of their savings and all of the resources that they have, and then build those ideas from the ground up. So it's been a lot of fun.
So you've had the opportunity as a small business center director, as a state director, to work with and meet many entrepreneurs and small business owners. Do you see, just are there common roadblocks out there to their success? I mean, what are the biggest challenges that the startup or the young entrepreneur, not necessarily young, but the entrepreneur has in getting their business off the ground and running?
Wow, what a great question. It's a big question. It's an important question. So if you talk to entrepreneurs and if you look at some of the surveys that are out there, one of the things that always pops up is that access to capital is a big barrier for small business owners or prospective owners. But I really believe a little differently, based on experience and certainly some of the data that's out there, that what really is a barrier for small business owners is they don't know what they don't know. And so being able to take advantage of a resource like the one that we have helps them sort of put a plan in place and understand all the pieces that have to be put into place to get that business off the ground, and really steering them in a good direction so that they avoid the pitfalls that are out there. So I really believe that the biggest challenge for them is not really understanding what it's going to truly take to start that business and how to really follow a good path to get up and running. So that's my take on it. Of course, again, certainly access to capital is right in there. Management know-how is right in there. Getting customers to return, all of those things that the regulatory environment can be so challenging. I mean, if you're a small business owner and you have to go down to your local city or county and start the process of getting a permit to open the business and just going through the zoning requirements and all of that, that can be a frustrating process sometimes. So we're there to help smooth that out for those entrepreneurs.
Are there some common mistakes that you've seen from startups? I guess you talk about the planning, and Gary and I often talk about that, whether it's working with people, small businesses or whatnot, of going through that planning process and really understanding what you're getting into. Some of you, not knowing what you don't know. Are there other common mistakes that often you've seen people run into as they start this endeavor?
Well, we need Bob Moore here to do his seminar on the 15 common mistakes that every entrepreneur should avoid. But, I think the thing that I see over and over again pretty regularly is that sometimes people will come in our office across all the small business centers, and they'll tell us, oh, I've got this great opportunity and I've just signed the lease to rent the ideal space that I want. And now I just need to get the capital to, be able to pay that rent and to get this business up and going. And so, that's when we just groan, right? Because we one of the things we want to tell small business owners is don't sign anything until you've been in to talk to a trusted advisor. And so that's definitely a common pitfall. I think the other thing is that they really underestimate the time it's going to take. And we like for them to, when they come in to see us, to ask them to sort of step back and assess sort of their entrepreneurial aptitude and really understand what it's going to take from a time commitment, the involvement of their family members and the patience of their families for them to be so involved in starting and operating a business. In terms of just the financial aspects, often they will underestimate the startup capital that they need. So sometimes we see businesses, if you drive down the streets of Hickory, you might see a business that opens up today and 3 weeks later or a month later or 90 days later, it's closed. And that is most often the result of not having enough operating capital to weather those cash flow storms in the first early days, weeks, and months of that business. So just underestimating the amount of capital and then stepping into the regulatory environment, oh my gosh, I forgot to file my annual report for the LLC and I've been administratively closed. So understanding that you have to stay on top of your taxes and your regulatory requirements if you're going to stay in business and be successful.
Not to mention if you want to serve food or alcohol or anything like that, what hoops you might have to jump through there as well. And you mentioned one thing about early on trying to help people sort of assess their I don't know if we'd say personality traits or attributes of an entrepreneur. I mean, what are there certain things that attributes that quickly come to mind of what a successful entrepreneur should what attributes they should have? Gary and I would start with probably persistence and whatnot. But are there certain attributes that come up quickly? And
I love it how you nail things from the outset, Jeff.
I'm just trying to steal your thunder. I've been well trained during my small business center days, Ann. So it's hard to get rid of that.
Yeah, but no, you're right on target. There's this whole thing that we talk about, entrepreneurial aptitude. And I really believe that persistence, that dedication, that stick to it is a key primary component of entrepreneurial aptitude. There's the risk taking, the ability to take and absorb risk. There's the planning, the ability to do planning. There's the creative aspect, the piece about being innovative. I mean, look at how fast things change in our world today. And if you don't pivot and respond to customer expectations, you're not going to be able to stay in business. So those to me are the things that come to mind most quickly when I think about entrepreneurial aptitude. But there's a whole assessment that we can give folks when they come in the door and let them just sort of rate themselves. And they may say, you know what, I need to rethink this. Maybe I need to go back and get, they may have some gaps in training, for example, some background knowledge that they need to hone up on. So the assessment really helps them to see where they stand and where they need to fill in those gaps.
I'm listening and I'm just thinking about all the things that are needed. Ann's gone through, of course, Jeff. It's so important to hook up with a good group of people that can help you. The small business center is best because people that are going out in business usually have an idea and a concept and they're excited about it. They don't realize all the things that go along. We've talked about it. And I just think about all the people that have run through our office with you and now Chris, and how important, because we don't want people to lose a lot of money or a lot of time invested in something that may not be the right thing to do. I know you always refer to being the dream crusher in a funny way, but that's not a bad thing if somebody comes to our small business center and we walk through all the steps with them and they say, well, I'm not up to this one, or I can't do this or that. That's the time to find out that you need either more help or that maybe this isn't the right thing before they've spent a lot of time and energy of their family's money as well as their money.
Gary,
Right.
That's a great point. And I think one of the things that we really focused on in the early days of this network was that the importance of keeping people from sinking their life savings into something that might not be the best thing for them. And so helping people to make smart decisions is what we're all about. Yeah. And we don't tell people now, you've laughed about Jeff saying that he was the dream crusher sometimes when someone would come in his office.
I mean it affectionately.
Yes. But the truth is that, we're that lifesaver, that
exactly.
Just making sure that they don't step into something that's beyond what their capacity is. And so I like to think of that as really redirecting them. And so we don't really tell people that, oh, that's a terrible idea, you should never even consider that. We don't do that. What we do is we sit down with them and we go through a discovery process, and we help them to look at break-even analysis and really look at all of the pieces and the planning phases and making sure that there truly is capacity, that the idea makes sense, that it's the idea that they have is solving a true need in the community, that there's a market out there to buy the product or the service, that sort of thing. So the whole feasibility piece and break-even analysis, financial projections, all of that sort of comes together.
And that's one of the last things that the entrepreneur really wants to look at.
Yeah.
It should be one of the first things they look at to see whether it's viable.
Well, it's because you encourage them to watch Shark Tank all the time.
I
Gary,
do.
And
I do.
They see dollar signs like and the flashing and whatnot. So, but I do remember that Ann's predecessor as director, one of the things that I have a very clear memory of is him, George Millsap's telling small business center directors that the most valuable service we can provide is to keep people from writing $10,000 checks that are not going to come back to them or have very little chance of coming back to them. Really doing that viability assessment early on and helping them reach that conclusion of, well, if you have 36 hours in a day, you actually can make these numbers, but you probably aren't going to be able to work 36 hours every day. So you might want to rethink this a little bit. Yeah.
And I always worry about when somebody comes in the office and they've lost their job, they say, so now I'm going to go start a business. Thinking, well, that's the easy fix to losing, not realizing it's going to be a lot harder probably than having a regular 40-hour-a-week job.
Very much so. So Ann, are there, as you look back on your work with the Small Business Center Network, are there certain strange or interesting situations or businesses that you've seen and had to sort of figure out what to do with?
Oh my gosh. So there's always an interesting story or two out there. I remember working with a client at one time who was into agroponics. And so you may be familiar with being able to grow vegetables and plants just with a water source, as opposed to planting those plants in the ground and using soil. So, but we quickly discovered, so this was years ago, before the current environment that we're in, where many states have legalized marijuana and related products. But so this person was secretly wanting to grow marijuana plants and sort of camouflaging it as, legal produce and that sort of thing. So we had to kind of steer that into a different direction. One of the things about the Small Business Center Network is we are a tax-funded program, and we use those taxpayer dollars. We take that very seriously, and we make sure that we're using those dollars in the appropriate way. And one of the things that we don't do is advise businesses to do something that they can't legally do. So that was a lot of fun for me back in the day. And of course, just being in a unique environment in the community that I was in, there were always lots of interesting businesses in that vein of something that wasn't entirely legal, and helping them to understand that, we couldn't really be involved with that kind of activity.
Well, it's funny when you mentioned that. I was going to say, I learned about aquaponics because Bunker Hill High School in their horticulture and turf grass program had it in a greenhouse, and now I know why they had it.
To grow marijuana? I doubt that.
They were always smiling.
Well, we have received questions in the past on the Entrepreneur Exchange about starting dispensaries and whatnot, and Gary has turned into quite the expert in this area. So, we defer questions on those areas to him. So, So, Ann, the network is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. I mean, you're going to have a parade. I mean, how are we going to celebrate this momentous occasion? Is the governor going to make proclamations, or what? How can we celebrate here?
Look, I assure you said parade. There will probably be at least one small business center who will have a parade sometime this year. So don't count that out. Actually, on May 14th in Raleigh, all of our small business centers are coming together for a big celebration day. We're calling it Small Business Day. And the governor has been invited, as well as other really special VIP guests. And this is a day that we will celebrate jointly with our sister organization, the Small Business and Technology Development Center, which is the university-based small business assistance program. So we do a lot of things collaboratively with the SBTDC. So we will join together to celebrate our joint 40 years of being on May 14th. So lots of speakers that day, and just an opportunity for us to talk about our journey and the ways that we've helped North Carolina's entrepreneurs and created that really strong economic impact as a result of those hardworking small business owners.
Well, that's good of you to include the SBTDC. I mean, a much weaker leadership structure there, but we
stop it.
We hope our friend Byron Hicks is listening, and a listener of the,
did that in unison,
the podcast.
Byron.
Yeah. So anyway, you do what you can to support them, but anyway, we look. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the network. Thank you for the work that you do in North Carolina. We encourage our listeners outside of North Carolina to go to the SBA.gov and try to identify small business development centers within their states. And they can also go and look at the North Carolina Small Business Center Network and see the good works that they're doing. I suspect that every now and then, as you're doing webinars, you probably get some out-of-state people peeking to see some of the good works that we're doing.
Oh, absolutely, we do. And it's wonderful to be able to see that kind of interest in our programming from neighboring states or people across the world. I mean, we have military veterans who may be deployed to the Horn of Africa or someplace in Europe, and they're able to take advantage of webinars and things like that. So it's great to be able to be that resource. And if we make some other states jealous, that's okay with me too.
Well,
but back to the SBTDC, I really have to say it's such a wonderful thing to be able to work collaboratively with our friends over at the SBTDC. You mentioned Byron Hicks, and he used to be there in Hickory at the local SBTDC office, and now he's the state director. And we have a great relationship, and I want to thank Byron publicly for the support that he provides, and the fact that he was planning this big event and asked us if we would like to join. And so we're piggybacking and thankful for that opportunity to do it together. So we'll give Byron a little credit today.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. Well, Byron's press people have not allowed him to be on the Entrepreneur Exchange yet, but we hope to get him at some point in time. I mean, he's pretty high up there at this point in time. So we miss him locally, but we appreciate the good works that he is doing on a statewide basis as well.
He's a force.
So, and any parting advice that you have for our listeners who are just starting a business before we engage you in our lightning round?
Oh my gosh, parting advice. Well, that it's obvious what I'm going to say. Go see your small business center director in your local community college as you're dreaming of this business that you want to start, and let them help you nurture that dream, plan that dream, put it on the right path, and get it out there.
And how much will that cost these people?
Big fat zero.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right. So
it's
there you go.
It's a prepaid service.
Best deal in town.
Utilize your free resources is probably the best advice that we can give you. So we're gonna do our lightning round. You up for our quick lightning round with us?
Let's see if I can keep up with you.
Okay. This month's lightning round is sponsored by Globo Gym. Do you need to lose some weight and get in shape? Well, then go to somebody else's gym. If you already look good, come to Globo Gym. You should check them out on the internet. So, Ann, we have some very quick questions, quick answers. Don't think too hard. Just let it flow here. So, all right. Question number 1. What is your favorite TV show or movie?
Oh, wow. I really like The Good Doctor. I think
Okay.
that I think they're coming to the end of their season, and I have really enjoyed picking up on the Bull.
Okay.
The
That's
guy
one
that
of my favorites. I was going to, when you said anything, we've been watching it nonstop, it seems like.
Okay. All right. Next question. What is your adult beverage of choice?
Ooh, great question, Jeff. So, well, I do like an adult beverage occasionally. A nice crisp Pinot Grigio, a nice red wine. But I have to say that my go-to beverage is Southern iced tea. I like a little half sweet, a little twist of fresh lemon, and that will make my day.
Okay, that sounds a little weak, but we'll accept it. Okay.
I like that.
Would people characterize you, Ann, as sweet, salty, or sour?
Well, I hate to say it, but I think sweet. They're
No,
going to probably say sweet. Yeah.
I've been in audits
He's
with
a
you where you've
salty.
been incredibly sweet, where you should have been much more salty. But yes, I would say sweet is the right answer that people would say. If
Better
you were-
than sour, Jeff.
I agree. If you were an Olympic athlete, what sport would you compete in?
No doubt about it. It would be basketball.
And I was unaware of Ann's basketball prowess. So, next time, we might have to
Pull some
get a
things out of
pickup
the
game.
archives.
Get a little pickup game going here.
Yeah.
Last question for you, Ann. What is your spirit animal?
Oh, gosh. I would have to say that my spirit animal is a bunny.
A bunny, a sweet, cuddly
Don't
bunny.
you think, right here at Easter, when people are thinking about chocolate and bunnies and little chickies and things like that? Yeah, I'll go with bunny.
Okay, that's fine. That sounds good. All right. And if people are looking for you or the network, where should they be looking? Where can they find you?
Well, I can easily be found at Shaw A at ncommunitycolleges.edu if you're talking about communication. But you can find me talking to a small business center director almost any day of the week. So,
and if people want to find the network, is there a website they should go to?
yes, you should go to ncsbc.net.
All right. So you can check it out and learn more about the Small Business Center there at ncsbc.net. And Ann, you've been a wonderful guest. We always like to end our episodes by giving shout outs to small businesses that we've come across. Ann, do you have one that you'd like to share today?
Oh, yes, I do, Jeff. So I want to do a shout out to a really neat coffee company that has opened in Jacksonville. It's called Gyra Peruvian Coffee. Marley Sifranic is the owner of that coffee business. And just a little bit about her, if that's okay. Can I share a little bit about
Yeah.
Gyra Peruvian Coffee? So Marley is a military spouse, and she's a self-proclaimed, what do you call it? Coffee, kind of a coffee
Aficionado or snob
Yeah,
or
yeah.
all the above?
Yes, and she actually fell in love with her husband over a cup of coffee while he was working at a coffee roasting company. But the story of her business sort of goes back to her roots growing up in Peru. Her grandfather owned he had a coffee farm. And so she grew up drinking coffee. And when she came to the U.S., she really just thought, oh my gosh, we've got to have good coffee here. And so one of the things that she does is she imports coffee from Peru, giving the opportunity for farmers back in her native country to get a fair price for their product, and then just making that perfect cup of coffee here in Jacksonville for her clients. And she did take advantage of the services of the Small Business Center, counseling time, lots of training events over the last year, 157 hours of training and 13 hours of counseling. So she really did take advantage of the services of the Small Business Center, and they helped her get funding to purchase her coffee van. And they also helped her find a great location to park her coffee van to sell her product. And so we just really like Marley and Gyra Peruvian Coffee because it says so much about the passion that particular business owner puts into her business, and just making sure that she's serving her customers this really perfect product that she's so proud of. So shout out to Gyra Peruvian Coffee here in Jacksonville.
And how do you spell Gyra, just so we get it right?
Yeah, it's Jireh.
That's not how I would have spelled it. So I'm glad that you spelled it for us. So we'll make sure that we get that in our show notes and link to them, and urge our listeners, if they are in Jacksonville, North Carolina, to search out Gyra Peruvian Coffee. Gary, what small business you got for us today?
I'm excited to talk about this, although it is out of my comfort zone of pets, dogs, and food and sweets, of any combination of those, or maybe sometime together. But because we have Ann on the show, we were talking with Chris Reese, our small business director, this morning, and he had given me a name of a company that's brand new into Hickory, the Golden Rule Music School in Hickory, started by Jamie Stevens as a professional musician, songwriter, and music teacher. He's currently based in Hickory, which is his hometown, but he had gone out all over the country playing with bands and different things like that. So we're excited that he is back in Hickory. He can practice there. He has jam sessions. Rehearsals allows for people to rehearse when they're going to go do a presentation somewhere. So really cool, great guy. Did a lot of reading up on him. But what really got me when we were talking about it this week was that our small business center and Chris helped him form his business, the right structure, connected them with realtors to help them find a perfect spot, met with the city of Hickory for the next steps in permitting and getting everything set up, helped him collaborate with the building owner who we might lease from, discuss the lease and the specifics. We were talking about, we always groan when somebody might have already signed a lease before they came to us. Mm-hmm. They came to us first, and helping them with marketing, the soft lunch, and connecting with the chamber. That's about as much as we know how to do in a short period of time. So wishing Jamie and the Golden Rule Music School good luck, and a shout out to our small business center.
No, very good. Well,
I love the name of that business, the Golden Rule. It makes you think that everybody's going to get good music. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So we're all going to get good music, right?
Well, if they're waiting for me to do music, it ain't going to be that good. So I hope it's better than that. So but I do enjoy the good music. So anyway, thank you, Gary. So I'm going to give a shout out to a company that I ran across at our Manufacturing Solutions Center in the last couple of weeks. We know, Gary, that the best business ideas are ones which solve problems.
Exactly.
And that's always a good starting point. And you've always mentioned to me that one of your issues is trying to find the right snazzy clothes that fit you correctly.
Yes, exactly. You were talking about my outfit today.
I wasn't I? So I recently,
not in a good way.
Recently, I had the opportunity to meet the founders of a new business, which is called Project B, as in B for bra. But the two young ladies, Bella and Zane, and I'm not going to try to pronounce their last names because I would butcher them. They founded Project B out of a frustration with today's fashion industry and current sizing models and also unsustainable practices, and that people make lots of stuff that don't always fit and don't get used, end up in landfills. So while they were in graduate school, they invented an algorithm to create custom fit garments in minutes using body scanning and 3D knitting technology, starting with bras as their initial product. They're trying to eliminate fit issues. They're trying to customize things so that they're not mass produced and being wasteful. So they're trying to work on that product. They actually toured and visited with us at our Manufacturing Solution Center in Conover a couple of weeks ago. And they're working on a 3D knitting production at this point in time. They've got an app which people can use to scan their bodies to come up with the correct fit for a bra. Might not be right for you or I at this point in time, but there could be other things down the road. But you can learn more about them at www.project-b.co. So if you go to their website, you'll learn about them. They're actually in Brooklyn at this point in time, but they're looking to do things on a national basis. So we look forward to working with them, and maybe at some point we'll even have them as guests here on the Entrepreneur Exchange. Who knows? So,
sounds good.
If you have an idea for a small business of the month, please email them to us at eexchange@themesh.tv. And we want to thank you for joining us. We want to thank you for the good work that you do, and wish you a very safe and peaceful Easter break, Easter holiday. And we hope that you're able to find your chocolate bunny out there somewhere.
I'll be taking a chocolate bunny, or maybe a basket full of chocolate bunnies, to my grandson. So
there you go.
Thank you, Jeff. It's such a pleasure to join you guys today and to talk about everything small business. So enjoy the weekend.
We also want to thank our friends at the Mesh Podcast Network. You should go to themesh.tv to see all of the cool podcasts that they're doing on a variety of things, from business, health, sports, humor, fun stuff. Check them out at themesh.tv. And we will look forward to talking with you guys again next month. Have a good one.
Take care. Hopefully we'll have an ACC national champion.